The Constitution was written by men. It was written by men in a time when men made the rules. Men established what was right, they established what was wrong. You can bet there were women behind those men, but you still didn't have equality.
In 1973, the case of Roe v. Wade was decided. Sarah Weddington, who was a 26-year-old woman, she argued in front of the Supreme Court that was all white men at the time to basically have the 14th Amendment protect a woman's right to choose, a right to privacy.
On behalf of herself and all those women who have in the past, at that present time, or in the future, would seek termination of a pregnancy.
Roe v. Wade has protected women's right to abortion for half a century, but is now in jeopardy. On May 2, 2022, the Supreme Court voted to overturn the decision. While the leaked majority opinion is only a draft, it has prompted the question, is our government truly for and by the people?
So much of what's happening in our country right now does not support democracy. It's insanity.
Into your body.
What happens in Oklahoma happens here. That an injury to one is an injury to all. And many people in California in particular, come from different states and also move around to different states. We have family in different states. We are very much affected by this war on women, an attempt to push women back 50, 100 years.
If Roe gets overturned, the experience of women is basically the luck of the state that you were born into.
And as we've already seen, there's going to be a whole spectrum of decisions coming from state to state, depending upon where their government officials actually stand on the issue.
In September 2021, the Texas Senate Bill 8 was passed. The law bans abortion after 6 weeks and empowers private citizens to sue anyone who aids or abets in a restricted abortion. Many states like Oklahoma and Florida are already introducing similar bans. And in response, the San Francisco-based corporation Yelp has taken action.
Yelp is one of a few companies that is finally stepping up to take a stand and make a public contribution to protect a woman's right to choose.
Not a lot of companies have come out to speak on this issue, which is extremely disheartening when you think about companies saying that they care about issues of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, but then have largely stayed silent on this. Our insurance provider has always covered abortion, but recently with very restrictive bans like that of SB 8 in Texas, we recognize that not all the women who work in our company, because they're spread across all 50 states, would be able to access abortion care equally.
If they have an employee in California or they have an employee in Austin, why should those be two different experiences?
We started a reimbursement program along with our insurance provider so that if someone had to leave their home state in order to get abortion care, they would be able to do that.
California has become an overwhelming sanctuary for women seeking abortions, and undoubtedly, Yelp bringing employees to the state has invoked a multitude of reactions.
Private companies have a history of donating to campaigns, to specific candidates. The private and public sector has always been doing this dance.
Should any company make a statement or should companies get involved in politics? Well, let me tell you something. Those companies are involved in politics.
They're playing a big political game. I mean, it seems to be more of a company's effort to what do they stand for rather than where are the women in all of this. Women who find themselves pregnant can't find support. Most of the women I've dealt with who have come to me who have had abortions are destroyed. But less and less is that a concern. It becomes more about polarized politics.
Although the majority of Americans do believe that abortion should be a legal right and that it is up to a woman and her doctor, undoubtedly there are people who disagree with this decision.
I would just say to Yelp, make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you know what you're about, and make sure you know what you're supporting. And make sure it's something that the women need rather than something you want them to have.
While in California, abortion will always be a right, are Yelp's efforts to expand its reach rooted in equality, or are they undermining our democracy? As future women could lose their right to choice, we reach to protect our freedom.
So when I was 18, I was a sophomore, starting my sophomore year in college, and I found myself unexpectedly pregnant. And I was in a long-term relationship. My boyfriend was a bit older. I just remember feeling really ashamed. And so I was thinking about, what were my options, and should I have the baby or should I have an abortion? We just kind of sat with, could we actually do this? And so we did. We decided to have the child. Having choices in front of me and freedom to make my own mind up, to show up for that moment of like, okay, I'm gonna be a mom, I'm gonna take this on. Like, that was a breath of air in that kind of container of stress that I felt like I was in. If I didn't have that, if that had been taken from me because of regulation and lack of access, I think it just would have been crushing to me.